The theater lobby buzzed with soft echoes of footsteps and the clink of soda cups, but Jack barely noticed. His eyes were locked on Noah, his oldest friend, and the one person who had always felt just a little too close. Jack adjusted the strap of his messenger bag, trying not to think about the fact that his boyfriend, Thomas, was out of town on a business trip. Just 3 days. No big deal. They trusted each other. Jack didn't cheat. He wasn't that guy. Corner seats, right? Noah said, already striding ahead with 2 tickets in hand, his hoodie half-zipped and jeans tight enough to make a statement. Yeah, Jack replied, following quickly like always. The theater was nearly empty, just a couple of scattered teens and an elderly couple sitting dead center. Noah smirked, motioning toward the far back corner. Privacy. Can't beat it. Jack didn't argue. He didn't trust his voice. They sank into the seats, the faded red cushions creaking beneath them. The previews started, painting flickers of blue and white light across their faces. Jack's phone buzzed. He pulled it out. Thomas, miss you already. He didn't reply. Not yet. You're quiet, Noah said, his voice low, smooth. Confident. Something on your mind? No, Jack lied. Just tired. Noah leaned closer. Not enough to touch, but enough to feel the heat between them. You sure it's not that you haven't seen me in 3 weeks? Jack exhaled. You know Thomas is coming back soon. Right, Noah said, eyes on the screen, voice dripping with suggestion. The boyfriend. A beat passed. Jack shifted, crossing his legs, his knee brushing Noah's. He didn't move it away. I didn't mean anything, Noah added, but the way he smiled said otherwise. They'd danced around this for years. Since college. Since that one night after too many drinks, when Noah leaned in too far and Jack didn't stop him. They never talked about it. Until now. You still with him because you're in love? Noah asked. Or because it's easier than starting over? Jack glanced at him sharply. You don't get to ask that. Noah chuckled. Fair. But I did. The movie started. Loud soundtrack, dark screen. Jack forced himself to look forward, to focus, but his peripheral vision kept drawing him back to Noah's frame. The way his fingers rested on his thigh, casual, but close. The slow bounce of his leg. The slight shift in posture that leaned him just close enough for Jack to smell the faint leather of his jacket and a trace of cologne that felt far too intimate. Noah leaned in again, whispering, You know what I miss? Jack didn't answer. That time we almost kissed. You remember? Jack swallowed. You were drunk. You weren't. There was no anger in the words. Just truth. The space between them pulsed. Jack's heartbeat thudded in his ears. He could still back out. Say something, make a joke, move his leg away. But he didn't. He just stared forward, as Noah's fingers crept an inch closer across the armrest. Slowly. Testing. Teasing. You know, Noah murmured, most people don't pick corner seats for the view. Jack finally turned to him. The screen's light danced across Noah's lips as he smiled. I'm not like most people, Jack said, voice barely audible. Noah's fingers touched his. Just the tips. Just enough. Exactly, Noah whispered. That's what makes this interesting. Jack didn't pull away. The moment stretched, long, delicate, electric. The rest of the world dimmed behind the silver screen. Their hands sat there, barely touching, but it felt like a storm waiting to break. Noah turned back to the screen, his fingers withdrawing. He didn't say anything else. Neither did Jack. But the silence between them wasn't empty. It was full of everything they couldn't say, everything they were suddenly too close to doing. And the movie hadn't even reached the halfway point. The screen flickered with explosions and dramatic music, but neither Jack nor Noah watched it. The movie had become a dull backdrop, a convenient cover for something far more intimate unfolding in the shadows. Noah's hand had returned to the armrest, but now it inched closer with deliberate slowness. Jack felt it before he saw it, fingertips brushing the inside of his wrist. Not accidental. Not playful. Intentional. Jack's breath caught, barely audible over the booming speakers. "You're shaking," Noah whispered, voice so low it vibrated straight into Jack's chest. "I'm not," Jack muttered, even though he was. It wasn't fear. It was adrenaline. Guilt. "I can stop," Noah offered, though his fingers didn't move. Jack didn't respond. He could have leaned away. He could have crossed his arms. But instead, he turned his wrist palm up, exposing the sensitive skin, silently giving permission. That was all Noah needed. His fingers slid across Jack's hand, confidently, slow strokes tracing lines only lovers should know. Jack's lips parted, but he didn't speak. His eyes were locked forward, but his mind was on the warmth now curling down his arm and into his chest. Noah leaned closer, lips a breath away from Jack's ear. "Tell me you don't want this," he said. "Lie to me." Jack's stomach twisted. He knew this was the moment. The point of no return. One choice. One move. And it would all unravel. Jack turned slightly, just enough for his lips to hover near Noah's. Close enough to feel the heat. Close enough that a whisper would feel like a kiss. "I shouldn't want this," Jack said, voice barely audible. "But I do." In the darkness, their mouths met. It wasn't soft. It wasn't hesitant. It was hungry, years of buried tension crashing into a kiss that was too rough, too real, too needed. Noah's hand slid to Jack's thigh, gripping firmly. Jack gasped against his mouth, one hand burying in Noah's hoodie, clutching for balance. Every part of him screamed to stop, but he didn't want to. Their lips parted just enough for breath, and Jack looked at him, really looked. Noah's eyes were fire, mischief, desire. But also something else, something dangerous. Confidence, yes, but also the knowledge that Jack was already his, even if just for this moment. Noah smirked. "Told you the corner was a good idea." Jack's head fell back against the seat, eyes closed, lips swollen from the kiss. "We're in public," he whispered. "That's the fun part," Noah said, and his hand moved again. Bolder now, up Jack's inner thigh, fingers pressing, tracing the line of heat through his jeans. Jack's entire body tensed. "Noah," it was barely a protest. "Tell me to stop," Noah challenged. Jack didn't. Instead, he reached over, grabbing Noah's hoodie, pulling him back in. This time the kiss was deeper, slower, messier. A moan escaped, swallowed between lips, hidden beneath the soundtrack of the movie no one was watching. Noah's fingers found the waistband of Jack's jeans, slipping just inside. Jack bit his lip hard, eyes fluttering shut. It was reckless. It was thrilling. It was wrong. But it felt incredible. Noah's hand moved with practiced ease, bold but measured, just enough to drive Jack to the edge without going too far. Jack's head dropped to Noah's shoulder, his hand clutching Noah's thigh, knuckles white. Their breaths were ragged but controlled. There was no space for hesitation anymore. Jack's phone buzzed in his pocket. Thomas. He ignored it. Noah paused, pulling back just enough to whisper, "You're thinking about him now?" Jack opened his eyes, expression unreadable in the flickering light. "No," he said. "I'm trying not to." The tension between them thickened. Noah's touch slowed but didn't stop. Jack didn't resist. They stayed like that, twisted together in a corner seat, hidden by shadows and silence, invisible to the rest of the world. When the movie's final scene played, some forgettable dialogue and a sweeping score, neither of them moved. The credits rolled in silence, white names on black, as Jack sat there, catching his breath, clothes wrinkled, hair slightly tousled. Noah finally leaned back, arms relaxed behind his head like nothing had happened. Jack didn't speak. He couldn't. His mind screamed with guilt, but his body hummed with memory. Noah glanced over with a crooked smile. "So, still feel like nothing happened?" Jack turned away, eyes fixed on the fading screen. "I don't know what I feel," he admitted. Noah's smile faded just slightly. "Good. That means it meant something." Jack swallowed hard. The theater lights blinked on. It was time to go. Outside, the night air was cold and damp, curling around Jack's collar like a warning. The sky above was clouded over, street lamps casting dull orange halos onto the pavement as people filed out of the theater. None of them paid attention to Jack and Noah. They walked side by side in silence, the weight of what had just happened pressing against their shoulders like brick. The noise of the movie was gone, but the tension between them had only thickened in its absence. Jack shoved his hands into his coat pockets, fingers twitching like they didn't know what to do. His pulse hadn't slowed since they left the corner seat. His mouth still tasted like Noah. His skin still tingled where Noah had touched him. He hated how much he missed it already. "Say something," Noah finally muttered, stopping by his car, parked just beneath a flickering streetlight. Jack stopped too. "What do you want me to say?" "Anything. That you regret it. That you don't. That it meant nothing. That it meant everything." Noah looked at him with an unreadable expression, part amusement, part challenge. "Just stop pretending it didn't happen." "I'm not pretending," Jack said. "I'm trying to process." Noah leaned back against his car, arms folded. "Process faster." Jack rubbed his forehead. "You're such an asshole sometimes. And you're such a coward," Noah fired back. "You're always waiting for someone to make the decision for you." Jack's eyes narrowed. "That's not fair." "No." Noah stepped forward. "You think I didn't see it? The way you looked at me in there? That wasn't a mistake, Jack. You wanted that. You've wanted it for years." Jack's throat tightened. "I have a boyfriend." "Right. The perfect Thomas." Noah said his name like it was a curse. "The one who's always out of town. Always working late. Always asking you to be patient." Jack flinched. "He's trying. We're trying. And what does that make this?" Noah asked, voice low but sharp. "A failure? Or finally, honesty?" Jack looked away. His phone buzzed in his pocket again. "Thomas." He didn't take it out. "Don't twist this like it means something noble," Jack said. "It was a moment. A mistake." Noah tilted his head. "Then why haven't you walked away?" Jack stared at the sidewalk. "Because I don't know what the hell I'm doing." Noah was silent for a moment. Then he said, more gently, "I'm not asking you to leave him. I needed to know if there was still something real between us. And now I do." Jack finally looked at him. "And what am I supposed to do with that?" "You figure that out," Noah said. "I've already made my move." They stood there, locked in a strange standoff, one full of everything unsaid, every missed opportunity, every emotion Jack had buried since college. He felt pulled in two, stretched between the life he'd built with Thomas and the spark that refused to die with Noah. "I should go," Jack said. Noah didn't move. "You're gonna call him?" Jack hesitated. "I don't know." He turned, walking toward his own car. The gravel crunched beneath his boots like static. He slid into the driver's seat and sat there, staring at the wheel. His phone buzzed again. This time he looked. "Thomas. Hope the movie was good. Miss you tonight. Want to talk before bed?" Jack closed his eyes. His fingers hovered over the keyboard. "Miss you too. It was fine. Love you." But he didn't send it. Instead, he dropped the phone into the passenger seat and started the engine. The headlights illuminated the side of the theater, empty and blank now. The place where everything had changed, even if no one else saw it. As he pulled out of the lot, his screen lit up once more with a message from Noah. "Noah, if it meant nothing, why are you still thinking about it?" Jack didn't respond. He just drove. But the silence in the car wasn't peaceful. It was full of guilt, and want, and something that felt dangerously like longing. Jack sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the floor like it might give him answers. The house was too quiet. The kind of quiet that made your thoughts echo louder than they should. Outside, the street lights bled gold into the blinds, drawing harsh stripes across his chest. He hadn't slept. Noah's text sat unread on his phone, not because he didn't care, but because he cared too much. Thomas would be back in less than 12 hours. His toothbrush was still in the cup by the sink. His side of the closet still smelled like cedar and cologne. Their life, built over 4 steady, faithful years, was waiting for Jack to step back into it. But Jack couldn't. Not yet. Every part of his body felt like it had been rewired since last night. His lips still tingled with the memory of Noah's kiss. His skin still hummed where fingers had dared to cross lines. And his heart, God, his heart was torn open and raw, exposed in a way he hadn't let it be in years. He used to think love was a choice. That if he just kept showing up, kept saying the right things, kept being enough, then love would stay. He'd done everything right with Thomas. He'd played the good partner. Loyal. Attentive. Forgiving. Safe. But it hadn't made him feel alive. Not like Noah did. And now everything was fractured. The truth was no longer avoidable. He had cheated. No excuses. No rationalizations. He had wanted it. And that was the part that terrified him most. The front door clicked open. Jack shot to his feet, pulse roaring. Thomas stepped inside, suitcase in one hand, keys in the other, casual and unaware. He looked tired, but happy to be home. Jack's mouth went dry. "Hey, babe," Thomas said, smiling as he dropped the keys into the bowl. "Missed you." Jack nodded, hands clenched at his sides. "Yeah. You too." Thomas stepped forward, pulling Jack into a hug. It was warm, familiar. But Jack didn't melt into it. His arms hovered, half-wrapped, like he didn't know where to put them. Thomas noticed. He pulled back, brow furrowing. "Everything okay?" Jack looked at him, really looked. Thomas's face was soft, kind. Dependable. And yet, something inside Jack cracked deeper. Because Thomas deserved someone fully present, not someone torn in half. "I need to tell you something," Jack said. Thomas went still. Jack hesitated only a moment longer. "I saw Noah last night. We crossed a line." The words landed like shattered glass between them. Thomas didn't flinch, but the light in his eyes dimmed. He didn't shout. He didn't curse. He simply stood there, absorbing it, processing it in real time with terrifying calm. "Did you sleep with him?" Thomas asked, voice hollow. Jack shook his head. "No. But I wanted to. And that's almost worse." Thomas nodded slowly, hands slipping into his pockets like he needed to keep them from shaking. "I thought we were okay," he said. "I thought we were working on things." "We were," Jack said. "We are. But I've been lying to myself. I've been afraid to admit that something's been broken for a long time." "And Noah was the fix?" Thomas asked, a bitter edge to his voice. "No," Jack said. "He's the truth I kept avoiding." Thomas stepped back, pain flickering across his face. "So, what now?" he asked. Jack didn't answer right away. He thought about the corner seat, the heat of Noah's hand, the rush, the ache, the guilt, but also the clarity that followed. And then he looked at Thomas, steady, heartbroken, real. "I don't know," Jack said honestly. "I don't want to hurt you. But I also don't want to keep pretending I'm not torn apart." Thomas nodded. "Then go. Figure it out." Jack swallowed. "Are you asking me to leave?" "I'm asking you to stop standing in the middle." Jack walked to the door, grabbing his coat. He paused, turned back. "I never stopped loving you," he said. Thomas didn't smile. "I believe you. But love's not always enough." Jack nodded. Then he left. Outside, the night felt just as cold as before. But this time, Jack wasn't frozen. He got in his car, hands steady on the wheel, and drove. Not to Noah. Not yet. He needed space. Stillness. Time to look at the fractured pieces of his heart and decide which ones were real and which ones were habit. He didn't know if he'd end up with Noah. He didn't know if Thomas would forgive him. But for the first time, he was being honest with them and with himself. And whatever came next, it would be real.